Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today, after almost 4 years of not making videos, I wanted to make a video where I talk about why I stopped and what happened to me and sort of update you guys on my life and what's been going on and how things have been going and so on. So let's just get into it. So basically, I'm going to take you back to 2016 when I think that's when I made the first video that was, let's say, successful, right? That's when I made a video in February 2016 that got around 30,000 views and that I, consider my very first video that people were excited about and I got a really good response about and for. And basically what was going on even back when I made that video was that I had already started suffering from chronic diseases. I at the time had two autoimmune or immune-based disorders that didn't make my life miserable, but it was a time in my life where I was basically focused on getting medical help for that. And so I also had time on my hands. And that's also why I started making videos in the first place. Because if I had been like a normal college kid, I probably wouldn't have had the time to start making videos because I'm a very, very precise and I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So in order to make a video, it would take me hours of preparation. And so I had time on my hands and I watched lots of YouTube videos and I just felt like I could make videos of my own and I had time and I did it. So that's the first thing, and it's important to remember for the sake of this video and to fully understand what happened next, that at the time I was suffering from two immune-based disorders, or one is an autoimmune disease and one is sort of an immune-based disorder. And I had time on my hands. What happened later, so fast forward a few months, so September 2016, I started college again. I started college again after stopping for roughly 6 months for health reasons and whatnot, and also changing major, which in my country implies that you have to start over. So you have to enroll again at university in like the next semester, which is you can always only enroll in September. So I had to wait until September to enroll again. I went to a different university, changed my major, which meant moving away from my home, leaving friends behind, everyone behind, whatnot, and basically starting kind of a new life with, again, two disorders that are chronic, that don't go away, that you carry with you, but at the time were under control, kind of under control. So what happened next was the next few months, I sort of started learning more about college life, getting to know my university, getting to know my roommates, people at university in general, the courses which were new, the subjects were new for me, everything was completely new. And I was very absorbed in that, classes, lectures, so I didn't really have much time. And that was, at the beginning, I would say the first 3 months, I sort of put everything else on hold because I was so focused on getting to know my new life and really familiarizing with everything that was new in it. So at the beginning, I'm not gonna try to find excuses, but it really the way that it was. I was really focused on getting to know my new university and everything else that changed in my life. And at the time, I also managed to keep the diseases under control quite a bit. What happened later was that I'm not going to sugarcoat this because I'm not. So basically what happened later was that I started suffering from a bit of depression, I would say. It wasn't severe. It wasn't a major issue, but I was away from home and I'm a homey person. Like, I'm not someone that likes to be away from family and friends. And so I would say, suffering a bit from depression, just I would say homesickness rather than depression. I just wanted to, be comfortable at home with my friends, with my family, and that was not going to happen. So that was one thing. That wasn't major. If I had been the kind of person that, couldn't stay away from friends and family, I wouldn't have moved so far away. It felt like the right decision at the time, and it was for a lot of reasons that I will explain when I get to a couple of other things that I'll explain later. So basically what happened was that I was homesick, and I also started suffering from a little bit of anxiety, which didn't really happen 3 months after I moved there. It happened a bit later, but things basically like crossed. Lots of things happened together or started happening together. It was a bit of homesickness and not really liking the environment, not really feeling at home there, even though I really needed to go away from home for lots of reasons that I'm not gonna get into in this video because they have nothing to do with the fact that I stopped making videos. But basically what happened was that I was a bit homesick, a bit anxious, swamped with work, exams. It was rough. It was tough. College is not easy on a lot of people because you have to study so much in so little time, and the anxiety that comes from having to take sometimes very tough exams that require you learning a lot of material is not easy, and some people don't handle the pressure very well, especially given that some people like me choose their majors. I pondered the decision a lot, but in the end, I didn't make what in hindsight would look like the best decision that I could have made. So let's put it this way. I picked a major that I was interested in very much and that wasn't easy for me. It was not subjects that came easily. I had to work a lot harder than other people to take the exams and to be able to pass them. So it was just hard on me. It wasn't that I picked something because I thought that it would give me more opportunities or something like that. I picked it because I was genuinely interested in it. But with hindsight, it was probably not the best decision. I should have picked a different major that I was equally interested in and that was a lot easier. That would have been a lot easier for me because it wasn't something that I felt was easy for me. So if you take being homesick with being anxious for the exams, with subjects that you feel are very difficult, and you put everything together on top of 2 chronic illnesses, you get a person that's very miserable. And I started becoming just a very miserable person. I would force myself to study, even though after a while that you force yourself to do something that doesn't come easily to you, even though maybe at the beginning you're interested in that, then you start becoming very resentful towards the university, the subjects, everything. You just start becoming resentful towards it. And so it started becoming very hard and very difficult. And because it took me so much more time than others to study the exact same amount of material or understand the same things, I literally didn't have time. And I was so tired after studying that I would spend it outside, that I would come home during the weekend, be with friends, try to get my mind off, which is something that anyone would have done really. And so that's what I spend most of my time on. If I wasn't taking care of my chronic disease and also working, because I did that for a while, working for the association that works with people that suffer from my diseases, if I wasn't doing that, I was hanging out with my boyfriend or with my friends. And so I literally had no free time. I didn't want to have. For me, YouTube is something that requires preparation, that requires sitting down, that requires, fixing my room in a way that, I don't have anything hanging behind me so that it's, clean enough for YouTube and stuff like that. Like, I'm very precise about that sort of thing. I'm very, I'm a perfectionist. I try to do things like the right way. So basically, that's what happened, and that's how I carried on 2017 and 18. So basically I was focusing a lot on studying very hard, sometimes not sleeping or not eating if it was before exams. I was very stressed out. And in the summer I was studying in the summer as well. I was studying on Christmas. I was studying all the time. I'm still studying all the time. And that carried on until June this year. So June this year, and I should say that sometimes obviously my chronic illnesses crawled back in because it's impossible to keep them under control if you're really stressed out and not sleeping or not eating perfectly. It's impossible. They crawl back in and they're very rough on you because they're painful diseases. They're chronic painful diseases. And so they crawl back in a couple of times, and that was also very frustrating. So you take a bit of anxiety before the exams, not sleeping, not eating always well, two chronic diseases, being homesick sometimes, being a bit miserable in general in life. And also something else that I would point out is that a lot of things that I wanted to do, because I'm a very creative person. I had websites, I have done videos on YouTube, those couple of things that I did, I'm a very creative person. I like writing. So clearly I like creating, and I can't stop myself from doing that. I die if I do that. I'm just not someone that can do that. And so I had to put a lot of things on hold because of university. During exams period, which lasts up to 3 months, I just didn't create. I just didn't make. I had to sell my videos. Sorry, not my videos, my websites. I had to stop writing. I had to stop doing everything. And in hindsight, it was crazy, but I needed to be so focused on the material I was studying because it was so hard that I couldn't do anything else. And that made me miserable because when you're very creative and you have to put so many ideas on hold, that's also something that I had to do. I had to put so many ideas on hold. You get very depressed, and those ideas try to crawl back in. They try to crawl back, and your mind cannot stop thinking about them, but at the same time you have to force yourself to postpone them to another moment. And that was also very hard and made me very miserable, and to the point where you're like why am I doing this, because that's what happens. And so that happened a couple of times, and I think that's the reason as to why in June this year, 2019, I was studying for an exam. I had to go back to college, take the exam, and the night before was hell. I think I had a few panic attacks, like one after the other. I almost threw up a couple of times. It was unreal. People think that if you go to college, like after a year or two, you settle in, like you get used to it. You don't get used to it. If an exam is hard for you, I'm not saying all exams are going to be hard for you. That was not the case for me either, but it's going to be hard. Like you will be, you just don't get used to anxiety, and it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away until you stop doing the thing that's causing it. So I have, I would say what happened to me the most was that I would study for a month for an exam, and I would be anxious throughout that month, not severely. Then I would get a bit more anxiety before the exam. And then once I take the exam, I go back to sleeping a lot and eating well and not getting anxiety at all until I have to start studying for another exam again. So that's what happened, and it escalated to the point where in June 2019, it just got to the point where I think I had a couple of panic attacks. I almost threw up, couldn't sleep the whole night. I think I went to sleep at around 4 a.m. I absolutely couldn't close my eyes. I couldn't relax. And the way in which I fell asleep was I just told myself, this isn't worth it. Like, this is not living. I stopped living 3 or 4 years ago, and this is not the way that people should live their lives, because I'm not saying I wasted, but I spent the last 3 or 4 years of my life, the most important the most important years in a person's lifetime, the years that when people look back in their life, they're like, oh, that was an amazing year for me. Like I was 21, 22, 23. I was so young, so fresh, so happy, I don't remember those years. I remember them as the most miserable years of my life. So clearly, I felt really bad that I was kind of like, I was putting myself in a situation where the best years of my life would be remembered as the worst. And so I fell asleep thinking, okay, like this is the last exam I'm ever gonna take. I'm gonna quit. I don't care. This isn't living. This is not the way that people should do it, and this isn't the way that anyone should go through things. And that's what I did. I went to sleep. I woke up next morning, took the exam, and I said to myself, I'm going home and that's it. You know, that's the last one I'm ever gonna take. I don't care how I went. I don't care. And I actually passed with flying colors. But I went home and I stayed true to what I said because I remember that night so vividly. I don't think I've ever been that sick in my life, ever, for an exam, for something so stupid, so meaningless, so shallow, like not shallow, but something that's not vital in life, let's put it that way. And so I went home and for a month I didn't open books. I didn't care about exams. I didn't do anything. I went to the beach. I had fun. Like, I couldn't take my mind off of it completely, but I didn't do much for a very long time. And then in August, I told myself, well, you know what? And I was miserable. I was miserable in July and part of June and also part of August. I was really miserable, very depressed. Not anxious anymore. That was a bonus, but I was very down because I felt like I let myself down. Like I couldn't handle something that like 98% of people can handle, which is a university exam. I was like, maybe college isn't for me. It really isn't. It never felt as though it was. Everyone else just went to exams and took them. Like they didn't care how they went. Because I was a perfectionist and I've always been, for me, it wasn't that way. For me, it was either it goes really well and I really pass it well, and because I'm not going to have another possibility or chance, or I'm not going to pass it, you know, and I'm going to quit. Like, I'm going to kill myself. Like, it was very, I expected too much of myself. Like, in hindsight, it was crazy. Completely, like, flat out crazy. But that's how it felt for me. And then in August, things started getting a little bit better in the sense that I could open a book without throwing up, but let's put it that way. And I could sit down and I could study and I could do that. And I started studying again little by little. And in November, I took my next exam. You know, I took it with serenity. I took it with not caring about the outcome, being really relaxed, sleeping, not even revising the night before. It was crazy. I didn't pass it with flying colors because, as I've said, for me, it takes a lot of energy. I have to revise for like months and even revise the day before the exam if I want to take an exam and really pass it with flying colors. But I passed it and I didn't get panic attacks and I didn't go back to that person that I didn't want to go back to. And so I started caring less about my GPA and I started caring more about my mental health and my health in general. And I'm on the path of like slowly recovering. I want to continue because I don't think it's smart to give up on something that you worked so hard for. But I'm not expecting that much of myself anymore. I'm not trying to be perfect every time. I'm not trying to force myself anything. If I don't want to study 1 or 2 days, I don't. I go out a lot more. I can eat crappy food and my disease is not crawling back in because I'm a lot less stressed out. I sleep a lot better. And in general, life is easier. I don't care how long it's going to take me to get my degree. I don't even know if I'm ever going to get it. All I'm trying to do is focus on one thing at a time and really try and be good on myself and not expect too much and not be too pretentious and not be too like strict with myself. Something that I've learned is that if you can't eat and you can't sleep and you don't like doing the things that you used to love, there's something wrong and you should probably stop and ask yourself what's wrong. And because everyone deep down knows what's wrong, and really try to, I'm not saying self-analyze yourself, but maybe take a break from what is going on that's very bad. Go on like a vacation, on a trip, do something. Or just tell yourself, this isn't worth it. This isn't worth my physical or mental health. This isn't worth me dying over it. Like whatever it is, it's not worth you being sick for it, being unhappy, being so down that you don't want to even like go out or eat or sleep, or you can't sleep. It makes no sense. There's nothing in this world that makes less sense. Nothing. Stop. If it's college, find an internship or get a part-time job and stop studying for a while and then maybe go back to it or maybe not. Just remember that, of course, you have to work hard. If you decide to leave college, it will be because you have a plan in mind, or you have a backup plan, or you have, a job that you feel like you can do, and that I'm not saying you're excited about doing, but that's gonna be better than you going to college. If it's being in a relationship that you're not very comfortable with, then I suggest stepping away from that person, asking for a break, going on a solo trip, doing something for yourself, hanging out with friends or family a lot more. Just find a way, find that something that makes you happy, that makes you take your mind off of whatever is causing you to feel sick, anxious, depressed. Take a break and then go back to it, and in case, finish it or continue it or whatever. So that's what I learned. And I learned that sometimes procrastination, which was what I did a lot in the past couple of years, and I'm still doing a lot, is sometimes a sign not of laziness, but of like that something is wrong. That's your mind telling you, don't do this because it's making you sick. Don't do this because it's not what you want. Don't do this because it's sucking the life out of you. And stuff like that. So really look for the warning signs, because I don't want people, I guess this video is kind of sappy and, crazy and sad. But this video is meant for all those people that are in college and are so miserable, because some people get suicidal. They get to the point where it's almost too late. And that's when really something has to snap inside of you. Something has to snap, or it's going to go really bad. And that's what I'm trying to say, basically. Don't let anything that's not vital in your life completely suck the life out of you, completely. Because people get there, and you can't let it happen. You have to walk away from it. You have to walk out of it. You have to find somehow a light. I don't know how else to explain it, but please take good care of my advice, because it's important. I guess that's what I wanted to say with this video, is that people go through hard times. You don't know what cross they're carrying. You don't know what's going on in their lives. I got a lot of messages of people saying, why don't you make videos? I really want you to make videos. I really miss you. You're so beautiful, whatever. Like, you couldn't care less about those comments when you're so down. They really, I'm very grateful, because they really pump you up. Like, they make you so grateful for what you did back then. But if you're not in a condition to make videos, I can guarantee you that they're not gonna make you walk out of your depression and, put your life on hold and go back to making videos. If you don't have the time and you're not in a good place for doing that, you're not gonna do that. And that's what happened to me. I wasn't in a good place. And I wasn't in the mood to make videos. And I just didn't because I wasn't in the mood. I couldn't force myself to do something I didn't want to do. And so what I'm trying to say is that I'm very, very grateful for everyone that subscribed, watched, liked any of my videos, shared them, whatever. I'm extremely grateful. But I wasn't in a good place. I am a little bit better now. I can't make promises, but I'm doing better a lot. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being kind with me. Thank you for supporting me. So many wrote me emails. So many were super sweet. And this video is crazy long, so I'm gonna cut it short. Thanks everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you understand what happened to me a little bit better. I hope you're not gonna be mad. I hope you're gonna like this. And if you have any advice, just post it in the comments because we all need advice, really. I still do. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.